Hey there, I just finished filming this episode. It did not go as planned. I really need your guys' advice. Watch this video, follow along, see where I'm at and the struggle I'm having right now. I need some advice on where to go from here. What are you guys' thoughts? Let's get to it. Didn't turn out. Hey there, and good morning. Welcome to the Jeep Solid Garage. So today, I'm having issues with the ignition on my 1994 Jeep Wrangler YJ. Put the key in, the key will turn, but I think I feel the entire cylinder, the entire ignition cylinder turning. Something's broken on the inside, so today I'm taking this apart, disassembling it. Gonna take you guys through that process, see what we need to order. I'm thinking it's that ignition cylinder. I've replaced them before on these Wranglers, so let's get right to it. So as I mentioned, the key will go in, it'll turn, but see right there, something's not catching. The whole thing spins. Let's dig into it and see what's going on. Yeah, and I can't even back it off. And it is a bit of a cold and blistery morning. Actually, our lows are supposed to get down in the teens. So, but I'm actually pretty comfortable working in here right now. Honestly, if anything, I'm getting a little too warm because I got myself a little space heater set up behind me. Here I'm starting out by just removing the little horn button. This just pulls straight out. I just got to get a grip on it here. But it does not take long for this heater to heat up this cab. But I don't mind working in here during the winter because, I don't know, I got my coffee, all my tools set up, nice seat to sit in, things are good. So with the little cover off here, we're going to remove these 3 bolts. 7/16 socket fits on these guys nice. And a couple tips, I should mention that it's a good idea to disconnect your battery. You don't want to accidentally start your Jeep. And also, when I take things apart, I lay them out in the order that I took them off so that when I go to put things back together, they're all laid out in a very specific order. Now I can remove the steering wheel nut. On mine here, a 13/16 fits just right. Steering wheel's off. Now this cover. At this point, we're going to use a steering wheel puller to pull off this bracket. No, it's not a retainer. I don't know, whatever you want to call this. We're going to pull this off. This is what aligns your steering wheel, so you might want to take a marker and kind of mark it to keep it straight. You will have it pretty darn close because of where this wire comes out, but you can still have it off by a tooth or two, so marking it's still a good idea. And this is just a simple puller. I'll put a link in the description below of where you can get one of these. There's a little metal spacer here, and then this little dust cover can come off. It just pulls away like this. Now at this point, we have to get this little snap ring out right down there. And if you have a steering wheel compressor, that'll really help. I don't have one. There is a way to do it without that. In one of my other videos where I'm working on a steering column like this, people mentioned, use a steering wheel compressor. I was like, yeah, that's great. I don't have one. And honestly, I can get this out. You can borrow them from like auto supply stores, O'Reilly's, Napa, AutoZone, places like that will lend you one, but by the time I run down there, pick it up, come back, use it, I'm so much faster just doing it this way, doing it my way. Just pushing this down, using a little pick to get behind it, and then some screwdrivers. So yeah, there, got the snap ring off. Took me all of like 3 minutes. I wouldn't even be to the hardware store yet to borrow that steering column compressor. Maybe I should just buy one. Now I am gonna mark where this little tab goes into this retainer right here because you could get this off-centered as well. But with that, if I can do this with one hand, yep, this will pull off. And then this mechanism for your horn can come off. We're really getting into the guts of it now. And again, that's really why I like to lay things out in order. So it's really not that hard if you just go piece by piece. But if you get things out of order, you'll get real confused. So that's my best tip for you. Now we're down to the turn signal components. I've got a video on replacing these springs, those return springs, if your turn signal isn't popping back into place. That's how it functions. Next, let's remove the turn signal lever. And next we'll remove the 3 little screws holding the turn signal mechanism in place here. There's number 1, number 2, and number 3. And remove the little hazard signal. Now this mechanism is free and should start to pull out, but we might, we gotta crawl underneath and feed some of the wiring up. So up under the dash here on my steering column, it's actually these wires right here. You can see if I kind of push this back and forth, it moves the whole mechanism there. So that's where I need to push those wires up to get enough slack to pull this out. Okay, now to pull the key cylinder out, there's a couple different styles that I've run into. The first one, sometimes there's a little locking screw right here that you have to take that screw out, then your cylinder will pop right out. This one doesn't have that locking screw in. So this style cylinder, there's a little tab right back in here. Now I'm fighting pretty hard to pull this old cylinder out. There's a little tab right here because mine doesn't have that locking retaining screw. There's a little tab, which I'll show you, that you push down, but because, and then it's supposed to just pull out, but it will not release. I'm thinking I can't get this tab pushed down. I'll show you this little tab that I'm trying to push down, but I'm just not being successful. Ultimately, I think I might have to drill this guy out, which I don't want to do. So you might have a retaining screw right here, which mine does not have. So then just off to the left here, in this little slot, you're supposed to be able to take a flathead screwdriver, push down in there to depress this little tab. I'll show you on the new cylinder. Here's my new ignition lock cylinder. I will be sure to link this in the description below of what fits a 1992, actually this is a 94 YJ, but this is that little tab right here that locks it in place, and you push the little screwdriver inside that slot, push this down so you can pull the rest of the ignition switch out. Because the internal mechanism of mine is broken, I can't get that to depress. So little slot on the bottom there, slides in, there's a little slot right there, and then that's the little lock that you push down, but I just cannot release it. All right, definitely did not want to have to do this, but I'm having to resort to using a little Dremel and my drill, try to chip away at this old lock cylinder, see if we can get it out. I'll let you know how it goes. It's gonna be a battle. Woohoo! After much drilling and fighting, we finally got it out. Good Lord, that was not easy. All right, the good news and the bad news. The good news, got the lock cylinder out, as you can see. So what I was able to do was drill it out enough, and then I got over to this left side. There's a little spring right here that kind of puts tension on this little tab. That's the tab we try to push down on to release it. Once I drilled out this left side, it destroyed that spring, which was able to release that locking mechanism so I could pull it out. And on my new setup here, here's that spring I'm talking about and that locking mechanism. Once I drilled that spring out, that released. Now, unfortunately, that might have been the easy part. I've got an issue inside the column here. As you can see down in there, that is what the ignition cylinder turns, that little gear. At the top, there's a little gear at the top there that's supposed to push to get you started. Now that is not catching properly. I think that might have been my initial issue. Actually, I'm very sure that was the issue of what was going on when I turned the key and something in there wasn't catching. It wasn't the ignition cylinder that wasn't catching, it was that gear. Yeah, I had issues getting the ignition cylinder out, and I don't know, probably needed to come out anyways, but now I've got an issue with the steering column. So with the ignition cylinder out, you should be able to take a pair of needle nose pliers, get them in there and have everything turn, and it kind of does, but then it catches and starts missing, starts skipping some of those gears that are in there. So putting my new cylinder in, I'm gonna have the same issue. It's gonna just kind of turn, those gears aren't gonna catch properly. So this is where I need your guys' advice. What do you think? Should I look at a junkyard for a new steering column? ignition, all the components, take this apart, redo all that? Should I bypass it and put in like a push start, some secret hidden little starting switch, and just not have a key on my ignition right here? I don't know. But bottom line, this Jeep is out of commission for a while until I figure out what to do. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts and comments down below. Give me some advice. What direction do you think I should go? Kind of leaning towards, let's do like a push start. A little button, start. And then like some hidden little kill switch somewhere. I don't know. Leave a comment down below. Love to hear you guys. Oh, this Jeep is out of commission. That's such a bummer. Thank you guys. Love to hear from you guys, and have a good day.